Yo, 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 I am back once again with another video, man. Yes, you already know what this movie review is going to be about if you haven't read the title already, but this movie review is going to be about Halloween Ends. That's right. This is supposed to be the last movie of the Halloween franchise, or at least the last movie of the recent Halloween trilogy. So yeah, this is supposed to be like the grand finale between Michael Myers and Laurie Strobel. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was anticipating this film. I am a big Halloween fan. I wouldn't say like I'm a Halloween like super expert, like I know everything about all the ins and outs of the Halloween franchise as far as like the backstory and the lore of like Michael Myers and Laurie and all of that, and Dr. Lubin and stuff like that. But I know a great deal about the movie. I watch plenty videos, about this movie franchise and, them breaking down like pretty much each movie and breaking down the character. So I know a great deal about this film franchise. And I've seen quite a few Halloween films, throughout my time. So, of course, I was anticipating this film. I watched the other two films in the theaters. And, just to give my quick thoughts on each movie, the prior two films before this one. The first one I liked. I really liked the first one. Is like very much a throwback to like the original Halloween movies. And yeah, I really dug the first one. The second one, I didn't really like it as much as the first one. You know what I mean? It was very brutal, very bloody. But I still had a good time with it up until like the end. The end kind of like threw me for a loop. So I would say like all the way up until the end of the second one, I was pretty much mostly on board. But even still, like the way it ended for me, as far as like with the second movie goes, it really left a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, damn, man, like it really, because it was a pretty okay movie. It was pretty decent. I enjoyed the movie all throughout until like I said, the last part of the film, which didn't really make no sense at all, because it's like, damn, you had Michael right there and you did not finish the job. And it was just like, how can you be so stupid? Anyway, so yeah, the second one kind of like let me down at the end, but overall, it wasn't a bad movie at all. Now we get to this one, and yeah, this is where they pretty much like went completely off script, off guard, whatever you want to call it, and you're just left like, what the hell did I just watch? Because that is like my kind of like first impressions walking out the theater, like, what the hell was that? You know what I mean? This one is a big letdown, man. This one is not good at all. I don't know. Let me say this. I get where they was trying to go with. I get the direction that they was trying to go with, but the execution failed on all levels. Like I said, man, I get where they were trying to, I get what they was trying to do, and not to give too much away, but it was kind of like, the old guard, passing on the torch to the new guard. And I'm just going to leave it at that, because you see throughout this movie, they're trying to build up this other character, not Michael Myers. Like throughout most of the film, Michael Myers is hardly in it. He's only mostly in it towards the end of the film. But throughout the entirety of this film, it's about a whole nother character that they're trying to build up. And at the end, it kind of just like leads nowhere. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Throughout this entire movie, it's about this guy. It's about this character that you're trying to prop up. You're trying to make us believe that he is who you want him to be. And then in the end, you kind of just ditch that whole idea. That whole idea you was running with. You just ditched it. And then you just go back to, the classic Michael Myers standoff with Laurie and all of that. Like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking with the script. I don't know what the hell happened, but they just dropped the ball on this, man. They just completely dropped the ball. And you would think that with a movie like Halloween, it's an easy premise. It's an easy direction to go into. Going into this, I thought that it was just going to pick up right from the second one. You know what I mean? All they had to do was just say, hey, you know what? We just going to, pick up from the second one, and we're just going to have Michael go on his last hunting spree, chopping down folks, killing folks off until he gets to Laurie, and then we're going to have the grand battle between him and Laurie. And I thought that when I saw the first trailer of this film, it kind of gave me like this action vibe. Like, not really horror, but more so like action type of vibe. Like it was going to be some like brutal, like thriller action, something like that. Because the music that they was playing throughout the trailer and stuff like that, I'm like, okay. But you still felt like, okay, this is kind of like, okay, Michael is going to be at his last standoff with Laurie. And throughout the entirety of the film, we're going to see Michael once again hunting down the streets of, I forgot the town's name that he hunts down. But I thought that the movie was going to be mostly about Michael Myers, you know, getting his revenge on Laurie for one last time, and them actually, you know, going head to head for one last time. And then throughout the entirety of the film, you know, they probably go into a little bit of more of a backstory between Michael's character and maybe prop up another character. You know what I mean? Like a side character that, you know, they may hint at as being the new Michael. But it was nothing like that in this film. Nothing like that. Instead, we get this other guy who is like the boyfriend or the love interest of, you know, Laurie's granddaughter and stuff like that. And like I said, most of the movie, I would say 80% of the movie is really about him, is about propping up this guy to be like the next Michael Myers. And then at the end, they just completely botch that idea and they just go back to Michael, you know, Michael Myers and Laurie Strobel having their one last standoff. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Like, you spend the entirety of this film building this guy up, and then you're just going to drop the ball at the last minute? Like, so what the hell was all this about? What the hell was all this guy's trials and tribulations? What it was his journey with his parents and, you know, in the beginning scene when he killed somebody, like, what was all of that about? It was like a complete waste of time. Like, why go into all of that when you're just going to completely just drop the ball at the end and you're just going to say, well, screw it. We're just going to leave that dude to the wayside. We're just going to go back to Michael and Laurie. Like, it makes no sense, man. This movie just makes no sense. Like, I get where they was trying to go with there. You know what I mean? But I just don't feel like they should have spent most of the film focusing on that. I felt like if you was going to tell a story that was going to pass the torch between like the original Michael Myers and like a new version of Michael Myers, then have it mainly be about the original Michael Myers hunting down Laurie one last time. And then throughout the movie, you know, you have this side character that you're building up, but it's not really about him. You're just dropping little bits and pieces here and there to kind of give the audience hints and clues like, yeah, this is going to be like the next Michael Myers. So yeah, even though this is the end, you know, we could kind of start like a new franchise with this new version of Michael Myers and make him be a little bit different from the original. If you wanted to go that route, because that's what you spend the entirety of this movie on. Because when you're watching the film, you're just like, okay, wait a minute. All right, they're going in this new direction. I get where they was trying to go. And then you're like, okay, so I'm pretty sure that this guy is going to be like the new Michael Myers. So, okay, it's going to be like the end of the beginning. Or, you could say like the end of the beginning, and we're going to like retell a new story, probably with future franchises. That's how they was kind of like building it up all throughout the movie. Because there was even one scene all the way in the beginning where, you know, this one side character, she kind of throws out this line, and the line was kind of like foreshadowing as far as like where the movie was going to end up. And then as you're watching the film, you're like, oh, okay, I know where they're going with this. I know where they're kind of going with this. Still, the execution was pretty bad, but you could still see where they was trying to go. But then all the way at the end, they just said, you know what, fuck it. Screw that character. Let's just go back to the original Michael Myers and him, you know, battling Laurie for one last time. And you're just like, wait, what the hell was this why waste all this time on this other character when you wasn't going to build him up when he wasn't even going to stay alive throughout the entirety of the film? And I'm getting into a rant here because this movie should have been much better. It was such an easy premise. It was a layup. All you had to do was just have it just like all the other ones. Have Michael go back on the streets once again on his last hunting spree, killing down folks until he gets to Laurie. And then we have the grand battle at the end. And like I said, if you wanted to have a situation to where, okay, the original Michael Myers dies off, and then you have this new version of Michael Myers at the end of the film, and you say like, hey, look, yeah, even though Halloween's ending, but guess what? We have this other guy here, you know, he could be the next Michael Myers. If you wanted to set that up, have that whole approach, then I would have been fine with that. But instead, you went with this whole kind of like psychological backstory on this one character, And you put that as the main focus. And it just, at the end, it just didn't make no sense because it didn't go anywhere. The character got killed off. It did not go anywhere. So you spend most of this time on this one character, going through his journey, the conflicts that he had between other characters in the film, and, him trying to battle, with people trying to, like, bully him and stuff like that. And, like, throughout the entirety of the film, the way how they set it up was that, Michael Myers, he was pretty much, like, in the shadows or whatnot. Like, he was hiding in some, like, underground bunker. And, the one of the main characters in the film, who they focus pretty much the whole entire movie on 80% of the time, he finds Michael in this underground bunker. And, like, well, I'm already spoiling it, so I might as well just go into just full-on spoiler territory. But anyway, this is, like, towards the beginning, where, like I said, one of the main characters who they spend most of the film on, he finds Michael in the underground bunker, long story short. And then Michael Myers, he attempts to kill him, attempts to, like, choke him out to death. And he looks in Michael's eyes, and it's like the way how the film portrays it, it's like, okay, it was kind of like Michael's essence, like, went into his character, like, went into him. Because as Michael was choking him out, like, he's looking Michael in the eyes through the mask, and he's seeing, like, flashback scenes of, like, all the deaths and all the trials and tribulations that he's been through, and he's kind of, like, consuming, like, I guess you could say, like, the spirit or the essence of Michael. And, like, right after that, it kind of, like, gradually progressed, as far as, like, him being a killer and stuff like that. Like, he's, like, slowly progressing into being, like, that next Michael Myers. But like I said, towards the end, they kind of, like, killed off that whole entire idea. They killed off that whole entire idea to go back to Michael and Laurie, the original Michael Myers and Laurie. And it's just like, we wasted all this time on this one character, and it didn't go nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Like I said, the execution was already bad, but it was just, like, much worse when they just ditched the whole idea. Because throughout the entirety of the film, like, they have, like, this little, like, him and, like, Michael have, like, this little, I wouldn't say chemistry, but they kind of have some sort of, like, a weird bondage in, like, a very, very vague way. To where, when we find Michael in the underground bunker, he's, like, you could tell that he's very, like, damaged. He's bruised up. And in one of the scenes, one of the characters in the film, he follows the other guy, the guy that they're trying to prop up as the next Michael, because they had, like, some kind of, like, little scuffle in this diner. And, like, he goes to hunt him down, and pretty much he leads him on a trail, the guy that he was fighting with. He leads him on a trail to where Michael Myers is at, and he drags him down to the bunker. And, they're scuffling. Make a long story short, the guy who the main character is fighting with, they get into a scuffle in this underground bunker or whatever. And then, of course, Michael is there. And as Michael is killing him, Michael is killing the other guy, it's like Michael was getting his strength back. Like, more times he was stabbing him, the more times Michael was getting his strength back. And when the guy was, I'm botching this whole thing. But anyway, just make a long story short, throughout the entirety of the film, they had, like, scenes here and there where you would have Michael, the original Michael Myers, and this new Michael Myers, I'm putting air quotes on that, this new version of Michael Myers. Anytime that he would see Michael doing a kill, it was like consuming him. Like, he was getting almost, like, inspired, or I guess you could say, like, he was, like, learning on how to be a killer, like, through Michael's eyes. And it's an interesting premise to go with, but like I said, when you focus most of the movie on that, and then it goes nowhere towards the end, it's like a big waste. And like I said, the execution of it all was just mismanaged, and it was poorly done. Very poorly done. So like I said, this movie, it had the easiest premise in the world. All they had to do was just do what they always done with all the other Halloween films and have Michael Myers go on a killing spree. You could set up another side character throughout the entirety of the film, throw bits and pieces out there, give a little backstory, you know what I mean? And have him out to be like the next Michael. But do that towards the end. Make it build up to that and make it make sense. This film, it doesn't make sense on how he like transforms into like this new version of Michael, because it just seems like he was just like progressing a little bit too quickly. Like his journey, you didn't really buy it. I don't know if that has to do with the acting or the actor of itself or just the writing in general. It just didn't execute well. Like the whole entire execution of that whole, what should have been a subplot, it just fell flat on its face. And I don't know why they went with this direction. I guess they didn't want to do like the normal routine because they probably figured that people was tired of that. But this is what we go to see Halloween for. Like, don't go in this new direction. Like, this is what Halloween fans want to see Michael, man. They want to see Michael Myers go on his killing spree and killing people. And it was so bad towards the end, I was kind of rooting for Michael Myers because I'm like, yo, these characters are dumb. Like, yo, kill all of them off, man. I was rooting for, like, the original Michael Myers. I was like, yo, yes, Michael, put back on the mask and go back on your killing spree, man. This is what we want to see. But throughout the entirety of the film, man, they spend it on this one character. And then towards the end, they just did a complete 180. And then it just went back to the original Michael Myers and Laurie again. So I'm like, wait a minute. Why was we focusing on this other character in the first place when this whole movie could have just been about the original Michael Myers? Oh, brother, man. Oh, man. So, I know I rambled on, man. I know, that this review was kind of all over the place. But at the end of the day, man, this was a very disappointing end to a very popular franchise. Once again, horror dropped the ball, and we got a dud, man. I'm sad to say that we got another dud with this, man. This should have been a much better film, man. They should have just stuck to the original roots, and it was a layup, man. Like I said, it was just such why divert from your original premise, man? Why divert from what Halloween is all about? It was always about, pretty much Michael Myers and Laurie, man, and their kind of like conflicts with one another, them hunting each other down, or I should say more so say Michael hunting down Laurie and Laurie being haunted by, Michael, kind of like being there at all times, trying to hunt her down, trying to kill her. Like that whole psychological effect between like Laurie and Michael, like that was like the essence of Halloween, man. Like that's what I came to see, and I didn't get that. So I don't know who this movie is for. It's definitely not for Halloween fans, the diehard Halloween fans. I would be surprised if diehard Halloween fans walk out of this film, liking it. I'm pretty sure a lot of the diehards are going to hate this film. They're going to be sadly disappointed walking out of that theater, because I was, you know what I mean? And it's not even really a horror film like that. There's no horror in this. It's the jump scares was just cheap. It was, I don't know, how can a horror film be this bad? Like, it was that bad. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I would say that, look, if you saw the first two Halloween films and you just want to see this one just to complete the trilogy, you know what I mean? Because you feel like you have to complete the trilogy, I would say don't rush to go see this in theaters. Wait for it to come out on streaming. It's probably out on streaming right now. I would say wait until it comes out on streaming and check it out then. It's not even worth a matinee, man. This film is horrible, man. It's pretty terrible. And it got ridiculous towards the end. It got really ridiculous towards the end. And you're just like, wait, what the hell is all of this shit? Because they do something that just came out of left field. It just came out of nowhere. And you're just like, wait, what the hell is all this about? Like, where did all this come from all of a sudden? And yeah, so I'm going to end my review here. But at the end of the day, man, Halloween ends. It was a very sad and disappointing end to a historical movie franchise, man. And it's very sad that Halloween went out the way that it did, like this. But this is what we got, man. But at least we got other films in this franchise that we could all look back and we could all enjoy. But this one, it's gonna leave a bad taste in your mouth, man. I know for me, it did. So, I think that's gonna be my review pretty much. I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say. Like I said, I was pretty much all over the place with this one. And, yeah, until my next one, man, I'm out.